As an example of very good climate communication, I think if I had to single out one of them, I would probably say the Evangelical Climate Initiative, which is a evangelical Christian saying we've got to be stewards of the creation, we've got to save the planet. And what's so good about that is that it's different. It's not what you expect. It's not, you don't expect to be hearing from Christians, you expect to be hearing from scientists. And not only that, but you don't expect evangelical Christians to be pro-science, because that's sort of our stereotype of them. We think that they're anti-evolution and all these things. So that really, it's a surprise, it's a positive surprise, and it's getting a new constituency involved in talking about the issue. It's not, I know scientists can't, sort of become Christians and then do that. It has to come from another sector of the public, but that's just what's so interesting about it, is that you have this surprising sector of the public taking action. So, and of course it got massive amounts of attention when it happened. By singling that out as an example of good communication, I'm trying to show how actually counterintuitive good communication is, and how the dynamics are very different than the dynamics that exist in the scientific community. And obviously that's not an example of something a scientist can do, but it's an example of something that's successful, and thinking about why it's successful will, I think, open up a lot more thinking about what other kinds of things can work. Well, I think ClimateGate really was a squandered opportunity for broader climate change communication with the public. You had this moment, it was a disaster ultimately, really is what it was. You had this moment where a scandal broke, and the institution at the center of the scandal, journalists have described this, it didn't communicate about what was going on with the emails. I guess scientists thought that it was improper that they were being discussed. But once they were out in the public square, there needed to be an immediate communication effort that would have been very, strategic, essentially a war room situation, to try to get the word out. Probably it was going to end up badly no matter what happened, but not even being in the game was, I think, very, very damaging to communicating on the topic. Geez, if there's one single thing that I think climate scientists could do to improve their communication skills, it really is make sure that they are reading up closely on all of the really valuable data that exists on what the public thinks about climate science, and not just what it thinks, but what its motivations are, how political party affiliation differentiates how people react to the issue, the 6 Americas of global warming that Anthony Lasarowitz has actually documented. There are different segments of the public that think differently. I think it changes your whole worldview once you realize, you'll see many resonant things that you already sort of knew this, but you didn't really see it in the data if you haven't seen this data yet. So in other words, knowing that audience, knowing the public, knowing why we're having such fights over this issue. If scientists haven't done that yet in the climate field, and many of them have, so I don't want to be talking down to anybody, but if they haven't yet, then I think that that's the single most important thing.